Good morning, this is Kevin Martin and Jeff Poshman. We're here at the New Jersey High Railers with a special presentation for you all today. Lionel asked us to take a look at some pre-production models of their F3 and F7s that were cataloged in the 2017 Signature 2 catalog. And what we have here are the F3, F7 prototypes, engineering samples, and we'll discuss what an engineering sample is later. We have powered A, powered B, non-powered A, and the base unit here along the back. Just a little bit of a history here. These units traversed the United States of America from 1940 and they ended their careers in the 1970s. Each one of the railroads, though, had specific design parameters when they did it. And you can take a look at the front of the A units. And you can see on this particular A unit, you have two headlights, top and bottom. And on this on this unit, you had the single headlight. And this was really something that each individual railroad designed and put together to give it its own mark on the F3, F7 platform. Now, what's interesting about this is you can see that it is truly a pre-production model. Jeffrey and I have already done through the hard work of programming and getting it all set up as a train, and Jeffrey will walk through some of the features and unique things about this like he did in the last video that we had. But I wanted to just share with you a couple things that I thought that were very interesting for a level at this height. Now, pre-production, you start with a drawing and you overlay to production, and there's different levels, different companies, call it level 1 all the way to level 10, depending on who you're working for. I haven't spoken to Lionel about what level these are, but I'm pretty sure that these are very close to production, given the quality and the sound and the way this thing fired all up and the electronics are working. But you can see this is just simply black with the gold on the top. The standard programming will be in the back. It has a nice, what I think is really cool here, and Jeffrey and I were talking about this earlier here, and Jeffrey will zoom in on this, but you can see that you have the porthole, and this is really nice here. This is actually, and I gotta believe it is almost like tin, but maybe that's not the right word, but the grading in here is really, really nice, and as you look through it, from my vantage point here, you probably won't be able to see it on the video, you can see the inner workings of the engine. Typically you wouldn't see that, but in this particular sample you do see that. None of the parts are missing in terms of what we wouldn't expect when we get into production. You have the fans across the top, the smoke units, where you program in the back. I like the vents on the top to cool the engine. That's really a cool feature. The non-powered A unit, I'll roll that up a little bit, is the same, basically the same thing, just non-powered. The unit in the back here, the powered B, Jeffrey will go over that. A little surprise for you when we were playing with this thing. So we found a few surprises on this and we'll relay that. And of course the super bass unit here in the back, which really brings the sound package to a really super high level. What we're hoping to see here when we get these is a nice Pennsylvania colored railroad. Maybe that would be the first one they come out with, but we can only hope. But Lionel's got them in the catalog. There's a list of them there, and I'm sure that no matter which one you buy and you put on your layout, you're going to be extremely happy with what we have here.
All right, so let's talk about the details, all that little stuff. Kevin did a good job going over the details, like the different colors means different add-on details. A lot of different variations that we could talk about. Well, I'm going to go into it a little bit. So, starting off, Kevin mentioned that the Lionel's doing each F3 or F7 different to the different railroads, because each railroad had their own different style. Even as time went on, the F3s and F7s essentially the same thing with upgrades. We'll talk about some of that. Some of it was under the hood stuff, such as mechanical and electrical, but there are some things on the outside that we could take a look at. But Kevin, one of the biggest standouts right here is the nose of the locomotive. So as you see here, the powered A has two headlights. One is a regular headlight, the other one will probably be a Mars light, and that's typical of the Santa Fe Railroad. Yes, this is going to be a Santa Fe Railroad. It's very hard to tell right now because it is black and gold and silver, but believe it or not, when Lionel comes out with it, you are going to be just as shocked as everyone was in 1940s, 1950s when Lionel came out with the original Santa Fe F3s, and we believe it is going to be just as beautiful, if not even better looking, than the original F3s that Lionel came out with the post-war, because of the level of detail that they have. But yeah, believe it or not, it's black now. It doesn't look like anything special, but let me tell you something. When that Santa Fe comes out, Ben may not like it. We all know Ben don't like the Santa Fe. But regardless, it is going to be one stunning looking locomotive. But if you're not a fan of Santa Fe, don't worry, because Lionel did come out with a couple other road names as well, such as the Great Northern, the Texas and Pacific, the New York, Ontario, and Western, which is something that I may end up having to get because the New York, Ontario, and Western shared the West Shore Railroad line with the New York Central Railroad for a certain part through New Jersey, through New York. So a local railroad, you know, we're buffing a little bit here. So like I said, Santa Fe, Great Northern, Texas and Pacific, the New York, Ontario and Western, the Pennsylvania Railroad, the Reading Railroad, and the Conrail. Now what's really interesting about the Conrail, Kevin mentioned that these F7s began their career in the 1940s and ran through the 1970s. When Conrail first became a thing, they pretty much took whatever they could. So you'll get a mixed bag. So one F3A unit is going to be blue, the other one will be black. One of the B units will be black, and the other one will be an Erie Lackawanna, you know, silver with the orange and red, and it'll have a patch over and it'll say Conrail. So a lot of different things. Like we said, a lot of different things to look at. One thing I noticed right away with the different detail, I'll pull this powered unit off. Take a look at the grating here, okay? It's kind of like this chicken wire type mesh thingy. It looks really nice. I don't know if you could zoom in and show it a little bit better, Kevin. Just take a look at the grates here. And then take a look at the grating on the non-powered A. Two totally different styles. So depending on which railroad you get, you may get the earlier style like this, or you can get the later style like that. Again, attention to detail, which is just absolutely phenomenal. Lionel really did something special here. They want, like I mentioned with the boxcar video, they wanted to spend special attention to detail, and they've really done it here. Programming these is just like any other. I'll take this one again. Take the top off, and you will have all of your switches. Let me see if I can get it off, because pre-production. Here we go. I don't want to break anything, but all your switches are on the inside. Easy to reach. No more flipping over to locomotive to access your program run, sound on, off. The volume control is right up top. Smoke unit control is right up top. Everything that you need to do to control this locomotive and get the most features out of it right up top. So, as per usual, me, I guess I do it the long way, but I make sure I do it right. So I put one engine on the track at a time. Flip it to program, pick the number. There's no number here, so I picked a random number, 81. 81, set, the horn will sound. Turn it off, switch it to run, and you're good to go. So all of these, I'll just grab the super bass unit, because while I'm at it and I want to talk about it, same thing. This will pop off, and your controls are underneath. Now, super bass is something that Lionel has done. They did it once before, and they're bringing it back, which is a phenomenal idea. And obviously, when you stand trackside, every locomotive has noise coming out of it, the diesel engines and whatnot. So what Lionel has done in the non-powered B unit, they brought back super bass. So it has the legacy rail sound system in it, and it is just the revving of the engine, and it just sounds phenomenal. So you'll have a 4-unit set, which looks great, and we're going to run it in a little bit. You'll have this 4-unit set going, and it's going to look good. It's going to sound even better because you have the powered unit, which has the sound in it. Then not the powered B unit, no sound in it. Then you throw this in there, and you have a nice loud revving sound with the engines going, working hard, and then the non-powered A. So it looks phenomenal, it sounds even better. So like we said, a powered A unit, dual motors. The powered B unit as well has dual motors. No motors in the super bass B and the non-powered A. However, again, it's got that rail sounds in it, the legacy rail sounds absolutely phenomenal, which you will hear in a little bit as we get it going. And as per the A units, directional lighting, smoke, the whole kit and caboodle, everything that you could ever want, Lionel has done it. It is my belief that it would be a mistake if you pass on this, because it is just that good. And these are only pre-production. Like I said, imagine when they come out with the colors for the railroads, it is going to be the envy of everybody. All right, so Kevin did a great job explaining what pre-production was in his introduction, speaking about how you have the different colors to indicate the different add-on details, so all the details pop out to see what's going on, different phases of pre-production, and I think it's safe to say that these are towards the later phase because they look and sound phenomenal. I spoke about the under the hood stuff, so now what we're going to do is we're going to do the fun part and we're going to run it for a little bit. So it's important, like I said, that you program each of these individual units as a locomotive. So we did 81, 82, 83, 84. And then using your legacy remote, you need to build it as a train. So I have 81 being the powered A unit, followed up by the powered B unit, then the super base B unit, and then the non-powered A unit. And it is important that you flip the direction of the non-powered A unit so that when you do the directional lighting, which we will show when we run it back and forth a little bit, that the directional lighting actually works. So when we're going forward, the headlight is on here and the marker lights are on there, and when we flip it, the marker lights come on here and the headlight goes on there. Also, if you want to run it as like an ABB or just an AB, there is a little tail light on the back of the B unit that will turn on when you put the train into reverse. And if you really wanted to, because it is a dual motor, then you can run it as an individual locomotive, although not terribly prototypical. You can run the B unit by itself. So don't recommend it because it doesn't look good, but without further ado, pre-production Lionel F3, F7, A, B, B, A.
This is the art office. Do you copy?
Copy that. I read you. Over.
We should have you rolling in just a moment. Watch your signals. Over.
Okay, ready to move. Out.
This is the block operator. You're clear to proceed. Over.
Understood. Out.
All right, so this is Kevin and Jeffrey at the High Railers, and we'd like to thank Lionel for giving us this pre-production unit. And I have to say, it really is a fantastic level of production, pre-production. Probably one step or two steps away from it finally going into production. As Jeffrey pointed out, there's a lot of really cool items that are going to be with this, particularly the difference between the details on maybe the Santa Fe and some of the other engines. We'd like to thank Lionel, who is a great partner of ours, for actually sending these to us and letting us have the opportunity to play with them. One of the things that I really noticed about this was the better sound quality, because we had the bass unit on there, number one, and number two, I think the crew talks are getting a lot better than they were in the past. We've been talking to Lionel extensively about that, and we think we nailed that. So we're here from the New Jersey High Railers. We think this is a great opportunity to buy a super special engine. We look forward to it coming out in the market real soon. And Jeffrey and I would like to take the opportunity to thank you all for watching this video.